Air travel in 2025 has evolved far beyond the routines most travelers are used to. The TSA and airlines have rolled out new rules, stricter enforcement, and updated policies that are catching even frequent flyers off guard. From denied boarding and confiscated items to surprise gate fees, small mistakes now lead to big consequences. This video breaks down 12 major TSA and airline rule changes, creating confusion and delays across U.S. airports. These aren't just security measures, they reflect a more complex travel environment that demands better awareness and preparation. Watch through to stay ahead and avoid costly surprises. 1. Toothpaste creams and gels are being enforced based on label size, not contents. TSA agents are now more aggressively enforcing the 3-1-1 liquids rule, especially with enhanced scanning technology and tighter compliance protocols in place. The policy has always stated that liquids, gels, and aerosols must be in containers no larger than 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. However, in 2025, enforcement is no longer about estimation or visual assumption. It's about the label. Travelers are being flagged at checkpoints for items that visually appear travel-sized but are technically packaged in containers exceeding the limit. Even if a product is half empty, if the label shows a volume over 3.4 ounces, TSA officers are instructed to confiscate it or require it to be checked in. Confusion arises when products use net weight instead of fluid ounces, or when international packaging isn't clearly labeled in milliliters or ounces. This rule is especially problematic for common toiletry items like toothpaste, moisturizer, shampoo, or pre-packed hotel kits. In short, TSA no longer cares how much is actually inside the container. The only thing that matters is the container's printed volume. If it says 4 ounces, even if it's 25% full, it will not be allowed in your carry-on. 2. Real ID enforcement is now mandatory for all domestic flights. As of May 2025, TSA has implemented full enforcement of the Real ID Act at every airport across the United States. This means that travelers flying domestically must present a form of identification that meets Real ID standards, which include a small star in the upper corner of your driver's license or state-issued ID. Despite years of delays and extensive announcements, many travelers, particularly seniors, infrequent flyers, and residents of states that issue both Real ID and non-compliant IDs, are arriving at airports unaware that their standard ID is no longer sufficient for domestic flights. TSA agents are no longer providing leniency or temporary allowances. Without a Real ID, passengers will be required to present an alternative acceptable form of identification, such as a valid passport or military ID. Without one of these, they will not be allowed to proceed through security. This has led to thousands of missed flights and unnecessary complications. The best course of action is to inspect your ID now and confirm that it contains the appropriate markings. If it does not, start the process to upgrade it immediately, as DMV appointment times remain backlogged in many areas due to increased demand. 3. Gate agents are enforcing carry-on size restrictions more aggressively than TSA. A trend that has returned with significant impact in 2025 is the aggressive enforcement of carry-on baggage dimensions at the boarding gate, not just at TSA checkpoints. While many travelers assume that if their bag passed through security, it's been approved, the reality is that the final determination happens at the gate, especially for economy and budget fare passengers. Airlines are now instructing gate agents to use metal sizing bins more frequently, and even slight overages such as wheels or handles sticking out are grounds for denying the bag and applying a gate check fee. These fees can range from $50 to $75, and refusal to pay may result in denied boarding. This enforcement increase is partly due to newer aircraft models with smaller overhead bins, as well as airline cost-cutting efforts that monetize every inch of storage space. Travelers should not rely solely on the carry-on approved tag from luggage brands. Instead, they should measure their packed bags and compare them to their specific airline's size requirements before arriving at the airport. 4. Behavior-based screening is becoming more frequent and technology-driven. TSA has expanded its use of behavior detection protocols, which involve monitoring passengers for signs of stress, nervousness, frustration, or hostility. In 2025, these assessments are no longer based purely on officer observation. They're increasingly supported by artificial intelligence and biometric tools integrated into security checkpoint systems. This change means that negative nonverbal behaviors such as eye-rolling, muttering, sarcasm, or reluctance to comply with instructions can lead to secondary screening, even when no prohibited items are detected. TSA's approach now treats attitude as part of the overall risk profile. In the current environment, passengers are encouraged to remain neutral and cooperative during all interactions at security. Displaying signs of agitation, even when justifiably tired or stressed, increases the likelihood of being pulled aside for additional questioning or inspection. 5. Common tech devices are being confiscated or flagged for additional screening. Electronic items, particularly newer high-capacity devices, are now a growing source of delays and confiscations at TSA checkpoints. In 2025, the list of restricted or high-risk tech has expanded to include certain vape pens, e-cigarettes, smart lighters, flashlight tasers, lithium-ion-powered camera batteries, and power banks that exceed airline voltage thresholds. Some devices are flagged not because of their function, but because of how they appear on scanners. For instance, a power bank shaped like a weapon or a smart pen with concealed features may prompt an automatic alert and require a manual bag inspection. In many cases, the items are not inherently illegal, but are considered high risk due to their potential to overheat or because their specifications aren't clearly labeled. Imported or off-brand products, in particular, are often missing battery capacity markings, which makes TSA agents more likely to reject them. Passengers should carry electronic accessories in their personal item, not checked luggage, and ensure every device is labeled, charged, and easy to identify. 6. Clothing is being used as a screening cue for risk profiling. While TSA has always paid attention to potential concealment risks, officers in 2025 are being trained to watch for clothing styles that complicate body screening or suggest non-cooperation. Outfits that include excessive layering, baggy cargo pants with deep pockets, tactical-style gear, or clothing that obscures body contours are now much more likely to trigger a secondary check. Even printed slogans on shirts that seem confrontational, political, or aggressive can lead to increased scrutiny. The goal of this change is not to restrict personal expression, but to reduce the likelihood of concealed items going undetected. Passengers are advised to dress in a way that facilitates smooth screening. That doesn't mean sacrificing comfort, it simply means choosing clothing that aligns with a cooperative travel experience. 7. Liquids purchased at the airport may be rejected at the gate. A new twist in TSA and airline security coordination involves gateside enforcement of liquids policies, particularly for international flights or routes deemed high risk. In 2025, multiple airlines have reintroduced post-TSA liquid screening at the boarding gate. This means passengers who purchase water bottles, juices, or other liquids near the gate, even from vendors inside the secure area, may be asked to discard them before boarding. The same applies to certain snacks or travel items that contain gels or spreads, especially when packed in odd containers. Gateside teams are also keeping an eye out for vape pens, refill cartridges, or drink containers that appear previously opened. These additional screenings are often unannounced and vary by carrier, which adds to the confusion. To avoid delays or last-minute disposals, passengers should avoid opening or consuming new liquids after clearing TSA, particularly on international flights. 8. The temporary 12-ounce hand sanitizer exception has ended. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, TSA temporarily allowed travelers to bring up to 12 ounces of hand sanitizer in carry-on bags. That exception has officially ended. As of 2025, hand sanitizer is once again subject to the standard 3.4-ounce limit and must be included in the traveler's quart-sized clear bag of liquids. This applies even to clip-on bottles, purse sanitizers, and travel-size refills. Many travelers are still unaware of this change and arrive at security checkpoints expecting the larger allowance to still apply. This creates unnecessary delays and often results in confiscation of the sanitizer. To stay compliant, pack hand sanitizer just like any other toiletry. And don't assume previous rules are still in effect. 9. Airline refund policies have shifted away from cash reimbursements. Although not a TSA rule, this update directly affects passenger security clearance timing and behavior at the airport. In 2025, several major airlines have revised their cancellation policies, and including those labeled as refundable, to offer only travel credit or flight vouchers unless the cancellation occurs more than 24 hours prior to departure. This change has caught many travelers off guard, particularly those booking through third-party websites or travel portals like Google Flights, Expedia, or Priceline. In these cases, the airline's policy may not even apply. The terms of the booking platform take precedence. To avoid unpleasant surprises, it's essential to read the refund policy carefully before booking and to screenshot the terms at the time of purchase. If flexibility is important, booking directly through the airline remains the best approach. 10. Powders are under increased scrutiny, especially in larger quantities. Powders are now among the most misunderstood items in air travel security. In 2025, any powdered substance exceeding 12 ounces, 350 milliliters, is automatically subject to secondary screening and, in some cases, confiscation. This includes everything from baby formula to protein supplements, powdered drink mixes, spices, and even cosmetic powders. Travelers bringing these items in bulk, particularly in unlabeled containers, are at higher risk of triggering additional screening. The recommendation is clear. Keep powders in their original packaging, label them properly, and be prepared to remove them from your carry-on during screening. 11. Tablets, game consoles, and large e-readers now require bin separation. TSA has made a change that's definitely slowing down security lines, and it's all about electronics. Laptops have always needed their own bin, but now anything bigger than a smartphone needs to come out too. That means tablets, Kindles, portable gaming consoles like the Nintendo Switch, even travel-sized DVD players. If you leave them in your bag, there's a good chance the scanner won't get a clear image and your bag could be pulled for extra screening. To keep things moving and avoid delays, just go ahead and take out all larger electronics before you reach the conveyor belt. 12. TSA CARES assistance must be scheduled in advance. The TSA CARES program provides valuable support for travelers with disabilities, medical conditions, or mobility challenges. However, as of 2025, all requests for special assistance through this program must be submitted at least 72 hours in advance. Walk-up requests for private screening rooms, extended time, or mobility escorts are no longer guaranteed as TSA is dealing with staffing constraints and a rise in assistance needs. Travelers who require these services should use the official TSA CARES website or hotline to schedule accommodations well before their travel date. This ensures they receive the help they need without delay or disruption at the airport. The air travel landscape in 2025 is more complex, regulated, and detail-oriented than ever before. From toothpaste and tech to boarding passes and behavior, the standards have changed. And it's clear that the margin for error has grown narrower. These 12 updates are not just policy shifts, they reflect a broader push for security, efficiency, and accountability in an increasingly global and unpredictable travel environment. Whether flying once a year or every month, it's never been more important to stay informed, pack intentionally, and adjust to new expectations. If this video helped clarify these often misunderstood travel policies, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might be flying soon. Leave a comment below with the rule that surprised you the most. It just might help someone else avoid a last-minute airport disaster. And for more air travel tips, updates, and airline hacks, subscribe now so you never miss what's next.